Hello everybody and welcome back to Lawrie's Mechanical Marvels, and if you're enjoying what you're seeing at the channel at the moment, then the links to our social media are coming up on the screen now. Now, when I or somebody in my family buys a new car, there are a select group of people of whom's opinion I'm kind of interested in. So obviously that's the group of the people in the shed and one notable other. That was awful. That was amazingly awful, all the things you could have done. Some of you might recognise my good friend Jayemm on cars.
Hello.
Who is that your speaking voice for this film?
I know what you're on about.
Now, some of you may know that in my history, I used to be on Jayemm's channel, helping him make his rather annoyingly successful channel to the stage it is now. And in a change of fate, he's now on my channel. So that's something a bit different. And today we're going to be looking at something, well, it's actually one of the few cars made in the new millennium that I actually care about. Well, I guess the important thing is for people who aren't patrons, the big update is my mother's beloved 307 has now died. And when I say beloved, I don't think she loved it. I certainly didn't.
Well, she never cleaned it.
No, well, we cleaned it, and that is the only time that car was cleaned. I did not know the interior of that car was blue until we cleaned it.
And Lawrie, we had this car cleaned, so people were very upset with the video that we made because they felt we were being very, very disrespectful to the car.
Yes.
But we did give it the one and only clean, which I paid for, that it ever had in the care of Lawrie's mum. And he messaged me, I think a fortnight after that review, to tell me that she had spilt, was it powdered milk?
Yes.
Powdered milk all over the interior.
Yes. And that remained there until the car went. That was the end of the car. That remained a feature.
It's tragic.
That car was tragic. The whole car was tragic. But it died. I was out filming the review of Jupiter Meets the Green Goddess, and my mum phoned and said she'd broken down. And I was like, that's lovely. I'm with Jupiter now. And that was that. Mum walked home, so I had to go pick her up the next day and take the NX and drag it home, despite the fact that we do have a breakdown cover. I'm not a cruel, heartless child here who didn't go to his mum in need. We do have breakdown cover too for these things, but no, I went and towed it back with the NX. And then, to give you an idea, obviously I am not good at mechanic-y stuff. I think that's become quite clear over the course of my channel.
Yes.
But I've got a vague idea of things that go wrong. Whether I can fix them is different. Then Matt is quite mechanically gifted, and so I said to my mum, the cam belt snapped, the engine's turning over, there's no compression. Matt confirmed this. My friend Lewis, who is a mechanic, or was a mechanic, also confirmed that this is the case. But my mum still needed to get a mobile mechanic to come in to confirm this was the case before she would consider defeat and scrap the car. So this is the replacement. And with all cars that I go and buy at the moment, I think actually everything I've bought recently, there is a specific set of events. It must be dark and it must be raining. So we're here to go and pick up a car for my mother. And it's something that we found on Facebook Marketplace about 5 hours ago. Somebody else was meant to pick it up and they haven't turned up. So we're going to go and have a look at Mum's new whip. And in the UK now, it feels like it's basically midnight as we go, which is always the correct time to go look at a car, is definitely after dark, but in actual fact it's only 6:30. But still, correct time. Oh wow, somebody's hit that lamppost. Look at that. Wow. I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah. Going and looking at cars for low money in the dark. This is an LMM top tip on recommended how you do these things. Never go in the light. Never go in good visibility, like when it's dry, or the ground's dry so you can get a good look at it. No, don't ever do that. Always make sure you go when it's wet and in the dark. And with a phone that's battery is almost dead, so the torch won't work. Always important parts. And yeah.
Ideal car viewing situation.
Yes, it is. And we bought this. Because Mum's other car is in the garage again, having a long going on issue that it's had forever. And yeah, so Mum needed another car, and frankly, with how my luck's going with all my cars, I needed to borrow something else. Because there's a reason I'm driving it around today, ladies and gentlemen. It's not because I want to do a review of it.
You are pretty much the only person I know that has about 24 vehicles and has to borrow somebody else's car. Well, the spirit of the Peugeot is certainly alive and well.
Yes, it has some flaws, and I'm going to give you. It has possibly in its previous life seen. I don't know.
A forklift?
No, well, it hasn't seen a lorry like the old one and been driven underneath. I mean, she has moved up. What I've successfully done here is I've made my mum to buy a car which is older, rarer, and Japanese.
I also noticed how you told me earlier one of her requirements was that it be blue.
It is blue.
And I must admire you in this case for getting the thing as far away from blue as you can get while still actually being blue.
On the V5 for this car, it says it's blue. And in certain light conditions, it is blue. I don't know if today, it's got kind of bluey, it's a weird colour, isn't it? I actually really like it.
There's blue in there.
Yeah.
There's blue in there.
In a nice sunny day, it's blue. In normal overcast conditions, it's grey. So you can drive a blue car into the car park and then you can come out and it's a grey car. It's wonderful.
This bit's blue.
Oh yeah, it's got bluey bits on it. I mean, it's definitely hit something repeatedly here. I think somebody may have had a driveway where at some point it had a wall on it and they've just repeatedly hit it.
To be fair, it also looks here like whoever owned it before was so embarrassed about it that what they did was they stood outside and polished it for a good 3 or 4 days, I think.
Oh yeah,
They've polished that clean. They've polished that down to the bare plastic.
Oh yeah. It also has alloys, which I have never seen wheels in more dire need of a refurbishment.
Are they not meant to be zebra patterned?
No, I don't think that was ever a option from the factory. I think I've never seen alloys that have done that, to be honest.
I have, but not attached to a car.
They're interesting. The best thing is that they.
And there's a leaf in it.
Oh, that means it's eco-friendly, like the electric cars.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah,
Normally they have the leaf on the dashboard now, but that's actually very, very forward viewing.
It also at some point had a roof box.
Oh, so it did.
And they didn't put the catches. Normally you've got the little clippy things, and they do not have the little clippy
Sunroof
things.
is nice.
Sunroof is cool. Sunroof is cool.
And both opens and closes.
Yeah. Also, rear wing, like
Yep.
the little sporty spoiler, because it's a sporty car.
You're not going to call it Sporty Spice, are you?
No, I might do. Actually, I might do now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
I'm
like
going to call it Victoria. No, she was posh. Which one was sporty? That was a Mel. That was definitely a Mel. That was Mel C. Your car, I'm going to call Mel C.
This is your 100k supercar specialist who also knows the names of the Spice Girls. I just want you to all know that for moving forwards on this.
Spice Girls by Supercars, probably.
The thing I do notice on this, now these are famous for the arches going, and this one, well, it's missing part of the arch.
Speaking of which,
Yes.
in the vicinity of the arches, what brand of tyres do you have on that side?
Oh, I've got a Goodyear.
Yeah.
I don't even know what this
The
is.
suspense is killing me, Lawrie. Now I've got an auto grip over here.
High Fly.
Ah,
What have we got on the front?
Goodyear.
Oh, okay, so we do have a matching pair on the front. This is definitely improvement on the 307 from before, which had different on all 4 corners.
Yes, so
Matching
one axle matches. The important axle,
Yeah.
to be fair.
Yeah, makes a difference. I actually really like the shape of this car. It is a car from the modern millennium that I actually sit back and go, yeah, they got that right. It's a tasteful. I do quite like hatches though, because I like this and I like the MG ZR being my other. I think it's basically 2 cars I like this millennium.
That's your guilty pleasure, isn't it, ZR?
I really want one, and they're cheap. It's a car that will turn up on the channel. I am going to get one. I really like one, and enjoy.
If it doesn't have an X-Power sticker on the side, I'm going to be very disappointed in you.
I really want the ones that got the massive MG one, like the
Oh,
bonnet,
yeah.
and the imminent failure of the K-Series engine, which knowing my luck in cars at the moment, it will be like the last surviving K-Series that hasn't had a head gasket, and I will get in it, drive it for about the distance from me to you, and it will die. In fact, I think it's a video we should do. We should go pick up one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can see how much you'll enjoy that.
No,
Yeah.
actually, I love the ZR.
Yeah.
I don't hate this either.
I-
It's a facelift as well. It's quite a late one.
The facelift on this is much nicer. Quite often, like with the MG, I really don't like the facelift.
Oh.
But this is a facelift I really do like. I actually genuinely like it. I think it's a nice little, I want to say sporty hatch, but it's not at all. It's just a nice little hatch. This is a good
sporty
car.
pretensions.
Oh, if it wasn't the auto, this would be.
Oh yes, that is somewhat.
Yes, and they did do some decent engines with it as well. This is not the best engine.
I mean, it's not really a fly in the sporty ointment. It's more of a dead albatross.
That is the greatest energy you've ever done. They did, I think, like a 1.3 or a 1.4, and the 1.6 are basically, to all intents and purposes, they do about the same MPG, and one goes slightly faster than the other.
There was a genuinely hot 323, although I don't think of this. I'm not sure of this generation. There might have been a Mazda Speed, but there was yonks before a 323 or Familia GTR.
Ooh.
From the early 90s. That's a proper little forgotten like Japanese hot hatch. So it's got pedigree.
Yeah, well, Mazda has pedigree, full stop. I mean, Mazda. Can you think of
Mazda?
No, I'm trying to go. Can you think of a bad car Mazda's done? Like something that stands out and being abysmal? Because in my head, I go MX-5, awesome. That's about as far as it goes.
I don't think anything's hateful.
Yeah, Mazda is good. Like most manufacturers will go through. You'll go through and go. They have something that you particularly don't like. For instance, I don't know, say Nissan and the Duke, which is something I personally hate, and the Qashqai, which I really hate. Whereas Mazda don't really have anything hateful that I can think of.
I quite even like the new 6, the sort of saloon thing.
Yes,
quite a good-looking car.
Mazda make good cars, and this was part of the argument for selling this fine automobile to my mother. Now, do you know how to drive an automatic, or do I need to give you the instructions as well?
I think I'll somehow muddle through.
Do you actually drive autos ever?
Yeah.
Well, like autos like this, not things which are like the sporty, you have to have an auto box.
Yeah. The 7 Series is an automatic.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mercedes was an automatic.
Was it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because this actually has been something of an eye-opener for you, because previously you've had pretty much a pathological hatred of anything automatic.
Yes. Yeah, normally the way before this car was anything automatic, you don't really read the road, you don't really get the full driving experience, and I maintain that's true. However, the desire for this, I've recently become a driver down at Chatham Docks, and one of the main reasons for requiring a car was that none of my cars worked, so I went to Mum to borrow her car and found that she only had one car which was going into the garage again. So thus the sudden desire to get this. Well, I knew the 307 was dead, but when you leave at I think 4 o'clock in the morning for a 6 o'clock start, an auto gearbox down the A12 and down the M25 is absolutely superb. It's a very pleasant thing to just drive, and so they do have the best. I don't want to take this to Skye and drive around Skye. That would just drive me insane.
Yeah, that would be frustrating. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would be awful. But this kind of sensation, to be able to just put it into and just go, I like it. It's fine. For a car, for a box to do A to B, it has its place. I did try to explain this concept to Morgan. Morgan was having none of it. Didn't quite understand it, but you get it, right? Sometimes it's nice just to, when you're going somewhere, it's not a particularly exciting trip.
This is the thing, for a very long time, a lot of people that I spoke to, and including myself, we tended to think that there was, a wrong or a right gearbox, manual's best, or auto's best, or whatever. And in truth, the actual answer, I believe, is that the right gearbox for the car and for the need. Now, traditionally, I'd probably want a sort of beefier engine paired with an auto gearbox, because it just works quite well. But, in this scenario, for driving around the lanes and stuff, this is absolutely fine. The nice thing as well with auto boxes, because the way Talk About It works, for doing stuff like that, just sort of, pulling out and all that sort of jazz, it's quite nice, it's quite nippy, quite easy.
This is a remarkably easy car to drive.
Yeah, actually, I've got to say, it's a very nice car to drive, actually. It's
God,
more involving. It is more involving than the 307 was.
Yeah, the 307 was horrible.
The steering on this is actually quite nice.
I do like the steering on it.
Which is unsurprising, because this comes from the era where it's basically a Ford underneath, or certainly large parts of it are going to be Ford.
It was Ford at the time, I think.
Yeah.
I think they split, or Ford sold their part of Mazda soon after, a couple of years after this production run.
Yeah. And Fords at the time had really good steering.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, Fords actually, old Fords steer quite well. The 90s Fords, first gen Focus, so it's a really good steer.
That's a car you don't see anymore. Like, that was everywhere. That car, everybody knew that car.
Well, I bet Scrappage Scheme got quite a few of them.
Scrappage Schemes claimed a lot of exciting cars.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't an exciting car, it was a car I was quite fancy the look of. I liked the tail lights that went all the way up the rear pillars.
Yeah.
But they are gone. And the one that followed it with a more angular one, not such a pretty car.
Yes.
Have you got anything to comment on this? Because
Yes, I do actually.
it's got an engine in there.
It has an intake, not entirely unlike that on my Honda S2000.
Oh, I mean, that's something.
So you're getting some cold air in from the front, and it's sort of working its way through here, the airbox here, and a whole 16 valves. It's not bad.
I mean, 16 valves does actually make it a proper engine when you go, it makes it slightly better. It has some...
What do we think it is, 1.6?
It's a 1.6, yeah.
It's probably 100 horsepower maybe?
Too short. It's 98.
Oh, okay, that's all right.
So it shifts. It is certainly an engine in there. Then other similarities between this and your S2000, it has an oil cap.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so there is a rocker cover.
An exhaust.
It has an exhaust.
And an intake.
Yeah. It has pipes.
It's injected, I take it.
It must be. I don't think anything survived into 2000 that was carby, really, did it?
No.
I think even 106s have moved on to injection by then. It is, honestly, it's a very unexciting engine bay. There's very little in here. What is that?
Is that for your AC?
Oh, it does. This is, apart from my Turbo MR2, this is the only vehicle in my family that's got air conditioning.
And it works.
It does, which is surprising.
Not bad.
There is legitimately nothing interesting in there, is there?
No, but the this is falling apart.
Let's not look at that. That's.
And I see the promising signs of previous, maybe steam or something.
Oh, that's.
Don't taste that.
Spicy. Yes, something has. The problem is, I don't even know where that's ruptured from because the only thing here is the power steering fluid. Might be the AC ruptured. I don't even know where that could have.
Nope.
Because the water's all that side, isn't it?
Yeah. There's fluid. Who knows?
Best left less
alone.
Kind of, yeah. Oh God, this is. I'm pulling that forward slightly because I've had that into the sleepy position.
Yeah, the Italian driving position going on there.
Get all the gangster. I've seen many individuals who I would call gangster, or at least want to be gangster, driving in that kind of. You also need to drive at this kind of level. You seem to, if something has caught your eye. Is it the multitude of lights on the dash?
Yeah, I mean, in positive things I could say about this car, the handbrake light, check engine light, traction control warning light, they all work.
Yes, they do. So I have a slight confession for you. There are some faults with this car.
Really?
Yes. I know you're surprised because it's not like me to buy it.
Ordinarily you bring back what I can only describe as pristine examples of a mark.
I feel. Did you manage to drop your?
It's fine.
I like as you're taking the mick out of me at that moment you dropped the down corner. But good work.
Well, drop it. It jumped.
I did it now.
It did.
You did. Right. Good. Yes. So things. The gentleman who sold it did say that it had recently gone to the garage for something and came back with a broken rear sensor for all these things. The good news is that they periodically turn off. So sometimes you'll start the car and they'll all be off. And then sometimes you'll start the car and they're all on.
In that regards, it is just like my BMW 7 Series.
Yes, we're getting there. It's it's annoying fault. I have looked. It's £100 for the sensor and to have it fitted. So it's not too bad. Bearing in mind that this is a £500 car.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, £500, that's not too bad because actually, we've been buying cheap cars for quite some time now.
We're making kind of somewhat, particularly on my channel, I'm making a profession out of it.
Yeah, and actually, 5-6 years ago, £500 car, easy. You get actually quite a nice car for that. And now it's quite difficult.
What's happened recently is, particularly with the thing that's happened globally, the whole COVID thingy, it's made people who have had cars on finance have realised that maybe it's not the best climate to be paying out the same amount every month that you could buy a car for, especially for people who are at home and not using them.
Yep.
And we've seen it because obviously we pay a lot of attention to the cheap car market, and suddenly the gems that were there have suddenly disappearing. The cheap cars are going quite quick, And there are some of the obscure old stuff that we're like, oh, we must save that. That's still around. But there's been quite the boost. And I mean, there's a couple of people I know who are on finance for their cars. And in 2 or 3 months, you could buy something half decent. Like in just over a month and a half for quite a few of them, you could buy this. And I don't care how good your brand new car is. It's not worth the extra money. I'm sorry. It's not. I mean, this is obviously not a shining example of pristine motoring.
No.
But it's just...
How is it on fuel?
It does drink some. I think it does. It's meant to do about 38.
That's not brilliant, is it?
No, it doesn't do that.
Mind you, neither was the Peugeot.
No, well, the Peugeot was horrendous. The Peugeot always had this slight petrol-y smell to it. And I always thought it was... You didn't think it was bad. I always thought what it was, it went through fuel at a horrendous rate. Bearing
in mind, generally for me these days, any fuel economy figure that starts with a 3, which isn't 3, is quite good.
I think I worked out the other day, Jupiter should do about 8.
Yeah, okay. Jupiter then is officially worse than the Ferrari.
Which is quite upsetting. However, I think I would enjoy, having driven the Ferrari, I think I enjoy Jupiter more.
I think you do, and I'm quite fine to keep enjoying the Ferrari on your behalf.
I'm happy with that.
I'm nice like that.
You're such a caring friend. I do. The Ferrari is quite nice. I'll give you that. It's quite nice. But if you get to a fire in it, you'll get to the fire quicker. It can't do much about it.
No.
Actually, that said, neither can mine because the pump's still not plugged in. So that's.
Yeah, all you can do is just distract people from the fire.
I'm good at that, but I don't necessarily need the fire engine to distract people from a fire.
Did I tell you that I drove an Elite?
Oh, a proper one?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you didn't. How was it?
Well, not the proper one that you're thinking of, the original Elite.
Oh, the one that has the fiberglass suspension.
Yes.
No,
the suspension's not fiberglass. It's
no, but
bolted
the mount's fiberglass.
Yes, but the key point there is that actually it has the Coventry Climax engine.
Oh, like my portable pump.
Yes.
That's interesting. Does it work better in a car than it does? That engine was used in a lot of things. I think they're in Hillman Imps and things.
I think Formula 1 cars made at the time.
Really?
Yep.
Nice. So I guess because it's a lightweight, high power unit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Good engine. This engine though,
it's high power.
It's functional. Actually, I'd say up to about 40 mile an hour, this is a perfectly nippy car.
Oh yeah, especially if you do this and you do the thing and drop it into sport mode. Do you feel the change in the car? The suspension has definitely tightened up slightly and
collapsed.
But if we get around this corner and this next corner, this possibly is not the best road to attempt this. We go from being a relatively sedate thing to being an absolutely screaming monster. This is a terrible road of bends. Where on earth are we? I've got no idea where
we're taking a left up here, darling.
This left around here?
Yep.
Oh, I do know where you're at.
And when I slam this book on the dashboard, you'll perform an emergency stop.
Emergency stop. How about we just gun it and do that? See? All the way to the red line.
Yes.
It's not bad, is it?
No, it moves along.
It smells hot now.
It smells very hot now, Lawrie.
Yes. I think that's the transmission fluid that's probably never been changed in this thing.
Now, there are a whole 4 speeds in here, I believe. Well, there were, anyway, when we started the day.
Yeah, it's not a bad box. Like, I've driven a lot of auto things which are a lot worse. One of the things I do genuinely like about this car is the rear end. I like the rear light cluster. I like the fact it's got a little wing. I just like the whole shape of it. It's an attractive car. It's got an attractive rear end, and having followed it a couple of times, I'm like, yes, that looks nice. It's even got a half decent kind of looking exhaust. It's got the kind of start of looking sporty. Like, it's a bit more than normal. It's not a bad car. It's not wonderful, but it's not bad. And I think that's the main thing to take away from this.
Darling, what do you know about the people that used to own this car?
I have some suspicions. I suspect you found the thing which, yes.
Do you think they may be one careful lady owner?
I do not, no.
Or do you think they could be one careful lady owner and her teenage son?
It used to have better speakers than it has. Yeah, I need to get a new parcel shelf for it because that's not...
I nearly stabbed myself in the face with the screw there.
Yeah, it's not a good implication, is it? No, it's they are just bolted through. And it's kind of hurtful. The thing that also is I can't find the cables of where the speakers used to go, because normally there's a plug somewhere where they used to plug into. I don't know where they are. They're oh well, yeah. Have you figured it out now? No.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
These are wood screws holding this in.
Yes.
In all fairness, they are screwed into wood.
Yeah, they have put a piece of wood. I mean, I like the fact they didn't just cut it out; they did reinforce it. That shows sign of workmanship there. It's not just going, oh, it will fall apart. You can't put that back, can you? So yeah, that's a telling thing of its past.
Good space though.
It's actually all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know the really cool thing? I'll show you that when we get inside. Something that I have never come across on a car before, and I think it's a truly exciting feature, is you pull this strappy thing here, and you can adjust the seats and have them in different positions. Adjustable rear seats. I mean, and obviously that's how it folds forward, but isn't that cool? That's a genuinely really cool and useful feature. And like, if you're in the middle, it's terrible because you can...
They're electric on my BMW.
Why do you have to ruin everything? I have a nice thing and you take it away from me.
Peasant wagon.
What's that? Oh, it's got a cigarette packet in the back.
Yeah.
But it's,
how else are you going to light your blunt?
Yeah, but it's got the remains of a Haribo packet in it.
All right, how else are you going to light your Haribo?
That's not mine.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll hold up in court. Honestly, officer, those gold bears were here when I got here.
Is that what they're calling them now?
Yeah.
Now, compared to the kind of stuff you're driving on a regular basis, would you kind of say this is up there with them on their levels of performance and handling?
No. But it's a delightful little car. I mean, you know, when you said to me you paid 500 quid for it, I was like, actually, you know what? Yeah, 500 quid? Yeah, fine.
It's one of those things that for the money it's paid, you could buy a lot worse.
Yeah, I was shocked, for example, that the AC and sunroof both worked.
I can't make that, with the exception of the sensor that's failed, when that is a periodic fail. Everything worked in here, which is rare.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's quite surprisingly nice. It's got a radio that works. The speakers work. I can plug in my cable and listen to my beats. It's still
Your stereo for your banging tunes.
yeah. Because I like well cool, you know. Oh, that felt nasty to say.
Yeah, no, you did not wear that well, my friend.
It doesn't really suit me, does
Not
it?
at all.
That
no.
kind of
no. The sad thing is that basically you're trying to do an impression of Ali G, which is already 2 decades old. So.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry,
Nothing
mate.
has made me feel that old.
MG.
Oh. Yeah. That made me feel very old and very unhappy.
Sorry, mate.
That's about as bad as finding out that we're millennials.
Are we?
Yes.
I thought I just managed to skip that
No,
one.
you don't.
Oh.
Nope. It's like 85 or something.
Oh.
Yep.
Yo.
Every single problem in the world at the moment is entirely your fault. I thought it was kids who were born after the millennium. Like, that made sense.
No.
But no, they're Gen X.
No, I knew it wasn't kids born after the 2000, but like,
No, it's
I don't know what level of swearing you have on your channel, so I'm simply going to say curses.
Yes, so thank you. That's the level we go to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's we're millennials, mate. Everything that's wrong with the world is apparently our fault.
Yeah.
I mean that works because we're both YouTubers, I suppose, and that's kind of the most hated thing.
No, we are. Oh, yeah.
But we are stereotypical.
Have you ever been called an influencer?
A couple of people have said this is Lawrie. He's an influencer. When I placed this on, I was like, no, please don't use that.
You
term.
make it rhyme with influenza.
Which is how I feel about it.
It's a horrible term, isn't it? I mean, I feel like motoring journalist is perhaps a touch too pretentious for what I do.
Certainly for me.
Yeah. Yes, definitely for you.
I like. This is Lawrie. He's enthusiastic about things.
I think it's more. This is Lawrie. He's a man with a problem.
It's only a problem if you accept it. I'm still at that stage where I'm in denial about
pure denial.
Yeah. It's only a problem. You can only start fixing things when you admit it's a problem, and I don't see a problem.
Yeah, no, this is true. He's refused to admit there's a problem for some time now.
Oh yeah. Well, it's kind of from when we started, and then you kind of palmed me off on other people to see if they could help. And it's not got any better.
Nope.
In fact, I don't know how many things I had when I was with you.
It wasn't 20. I think it was about.
It may have been
Because I think
10.
between us at one point we had like 12.
Yes.
And I think I had 5 and you had 7 or so.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's got worse.
Yes, I can see that. I'm at 5 vehicles still. I'm not supposed to have that many, but yeah.
Yeah, the 7 Series remains on your driveway.
Yes, it does.
Good purchase.
But it's fine. It's got redeeming features, so, you know.
All of my cars have redeeming features. Unfortunately, as an Anthem work, I can't example any of the features.
That's it. The 7 Series is the least working of my vehicles, and it just completed a 700-mile trip. So I will say that for it.
My Peugeot continued successfully with some issues. Did get home though. 2,500 mile road trip and got home.
Successfully, perhaps. Flawlessly, no.
I never said flawlessly. That was never a terminology that I used. Successful, better than BMW that finished its trip on the back of a lorry.
Yes.
And that's the most important thing to take from this. BMW failed. 106 with assistance and a lot of tapey stuff wrapping up failed heater pipes. Successful. More so than the Toyota, which broke 4 times.
Yes.
Which is the important thing to take about this. The 106 can be fixed by a man in a van repeatedly.
I hope you're going to brand the next thing you do like that as just, the Masochist Tour 2021.
Even we, and our standard of how things go wrong, couldn't believe it was going to be that bad. I mean,
that's where you went wrong. You didn't believe.
We expected a breakdown. Particularly, we thought the pug would break down. We didn't expect that level. There is one thing on modern cars I really hate, and that is this thing that the dash is like the front of the car. You can't see your bonnet, and the dash is the front. And it's one of the things I hated about the 307 was you didn't know where the front of the car was. And there were more than one kind of times when I was borrowing it, but I'd bring it home and gently tap Mum's 206. Just, you're there then.
Yeah, I do that with a Ferrari all the time.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just push the Honda back until I'm in the space. It's fine.
I feel like this is like third world country versus first world country problems. Sometimes I top the diet, sometimes I tap the 307.
I really hope at least some of the people watching this sort of know the channel so they don't think I'm a total dick. I mean, I'm 75%, but like not complete.
Yeah.
I made you, damn it.
Yeah. So if you're watching this is all his fault. If you're watching this thinking, what the hell is it? Blame this man.
Learn everything he knows from me, including his parking skills.
There was a story you were telling earlier. You went to the pub the other day, and how many keys did you have for what cars? You've currently got an Audi, haven't you? You've got the R8 review.
Look, I had to move some stuff on the driveway, and then I went to the pub, and I was trying to find my keys because one of the cars I had at the time, it kept like literally. I would go into the pub, and people would come into there and say, "Your boot's open," because it had the boot key was really easy,
sit on it.
and it would just open itself randomly. And I had my camera stuff in there, so my routine was to get in the pub and take keys out of pocket. But I'd been moving all the cars, so I sat in the pub and I had 5 sets of keys. So there's like 2 BMWs, there's the Audi, it's a Ferrari, it's a Honda. It looked like the most awful flex. Yeah, I know. Sorry.
So moving on with this, I quite like the back to the scene forward. I like seeing the front of the car.
Yep.
And I like the steering wheel. I like the fact that it's not cluttered. I have this thing which doesn't work because aftermarket stereo, but I like the fact it's not big. It feels like a nice steering wheel. I don't
like 4 spokes.
Do you not?
No, I don't like 4 spokes.
I quite do.
No.
I like
That's
it.
your HGV thing kicking in, isn't it?
Yeah, but an HGV one's normally like 90 degrees to this and about that size.
You just wanted to say MAN on there.
I do. I want to put a wonderful Facebook status up about that once upon a time, but I digress for another time. Yeah. But I like this. I like the feel of it. It's quite nice. I like the rest sitting like that. I like this. It's a really nice steering wheel. Mm-hmm. I like the whole sitting position, in fact. I like this. I like the seats, and I particularly like your one, because if you notice your release, you've got the quick release version for rapid gets away, whereas I've got this slightly slower, more sedate roll down.
Yeah.
And
now I have to lever myself off the front.
Are you?
No, I'm too far forward. No, back again. Oh, okay.
Oh gosh,
I'm just leaving it where it is. Are you all right?
Yeah,
are you having a seizure? Do I need to call someone?
Possibly. I shouldn't be allowed out on my own.
This is true.
Yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it? It's comfortable. The whole thing's done quite nice. And one thing that I really like about this car, which is a first in my entire family, is we've never had this thing down here.
The mighty cup holder.
Yes. Are you impressed?
I am.
Good. I'm glad you are. Actually, everything works. I've never had this as well. We've got the electric windows that work, the rear ones as well, because they're all electric. Everything else I've ever owned has manual cranky ones in the back.
Or workout windows in
Yeah.
the cheap seats.
But this has got proper ones, and it's also got a button here which disables that function. So I've got into this before and been like, what have I broken? Why don't the windows work?
Is that if you're out with, the rest of the boys from LMM, you can just stop them being pests?
Stop them being pests and hanging out and climbing up the windows, yeah. It's a safety feature, really. It's quite good. Everything's kind of nicely in position. I've got the fog lights down here. I still don't know which one does which, but there's buttons there. That's possibly
just the normal logos for fog lights, Lawrie.
Yes, but I can't see where they are. Like when I'm driving, it's just like fog lights. Smash both of them. Problem solved. Yeah. And I've got a dimness thing, and I've got a headlight adjusty thing.
Oh yeah,
that's very good. And I bet you've never come across this climate control. So you put it to the number there, and that's how hot the inside of the car is.
The whole car.
Oh, don't you dare! Don't you even dare! It's quite. I've never had this before, and I quite like it.
I mean, everything in here, it does still have quite a whiff of classic sort of Japanese car about it. Like, it's this very familiar kind of slightly glossy black plastic on all the switches, with an attempt to make it feel upmarket by making a slightly shiny door handle. Like that's going to fool anyone thinking it's a Mercedes.
No. It's boring, isn't it?
No. The period Kenwood head unit is quite a nice touch.
That's got a really cool feature, you see. It's got this thing that comes up every now and again and says Kenwood Protect, and it won't do anything. And the way you fix this is you remove the radio from the car, you disconnect the power, you wait a few moments, and then you put it back in, plug it back in, and it works fine.
Did I ever tell you about the instructions to remove the radio on an old Lotus?
This is the one with it's disconnect the gear lever, drop gearbox.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then remove radio. Simple.
Yeah, simple steps.
Couldn't be easier.
I mean, this one is easier. I'll give you that much.
Would you just accelerate sharply?
That's actually my 106 at the moment. When Morgan took the dash out of it before its recent trip to Scotland, because he had to take the dash out to put the new heater matrix in it. When it was put back in by him and Trev, some screws were forgotten, particularly the ones that are important for the rails that hold the radio in. So you'd accelerate and the radio would just go, nope.
We did have that. Lawrie and I did a video when he was still working on my channel where we got sent a radio from my Alfa Romeo.
Oh my God, that was awful.
We had to fit it, and it looked like quite a good radio, and we had to fit it, and they're like, you can fit it and you can have this radio that's only 400 quid for free, but you need to do a review of it. And we fit it, and basically every time we accelerated it, it fell out, and they were like...
It never fitted.
No, it never fit properly, and they were like, where's your review of it? And I was like... Do you really want the review of this? So in the end, they were like, oh, okay, maybe not. But yeah.
It was the dash was slightly curved, wasn't it? But the radio wasn't. So it stuck out.
It just didn't.
It was a terrible product.
It was awful. See, these other than the fact that your indicator is on the sort of standard modern side,
which I don't like. I like it being on the side.
I prefer. I agree with you completely. Like these do feel like classic. Like this is like an old Honda Civic type. It's this same weird material. But I think this car is actually the opposite to the old Pug, bless its heart.
You really?
In that, well, yeah. You see, that car, electrics and everything else were pretty suspect. Like
interior particularly.
But the body shell on that car was pretty solid.
Well, apart from all the scars and the wounds.
Yeah, apart from the scars,
its two careful owners.
But those were battle damaged, not just regular wear and tear. Whereas this car, I feel like all of the electrics and stuff in here are pretty much going to work forever, other than all the ones that
and the engine.
And the engine. But this chassis, this shell is going to just dissolve.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the only thing I find weird is that.
Oh, your interior light?
Yeah. No, if I open the door, that comes on. But these here don't. These map lights you've got here. And I just find it weird that you're illuminated from behind. So you stop and in the dark to get out the car, open it up, and it kind of gets backlit to what's going on. There's no light kind of showing what's going on here. So all of this is still...
Just probably put in by a bloke that used to work on Crime Watch.
That was the whole point of it, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Everyone's backlit.
Yeah.
Just silhouettes driving cars.
It's just, I mean, it makes it a bit cool when you pull up and you turn it and suddenly you're silhouetted in the car. You turn up, there's this shadow driving it, and that's cool. It's a film car.
Especially if you've been smoking your Harrowbone. You've got this nice fog, bit of backlight, some 80s music, really moody. Are you okay? I think snot's coming out. Oh no, we're trapped. What happened?
It's got central locking as well.
Yeah, I know. Stephen King's central locking.
Oh God.
Should I call someone?
It's too late.
Yeah, I'm already here.
You're the responsible adult today.
I have been called many things in my life, sir. Responsible adult is never one.
I've got a mirror. So do you?
Yeah.
I'm looking pretty. What have I done? My hair has gotten proper windswept.
Is that applesauce?
I do feel this whole car though feels like a mark-up. This car is a stage up from the 307. This is like your next level.
I don't know. I'm not sure I feel that so much.
Oh really? No, this is for me definitely this I like, and this is a nice place to be. The 307 never struck me as a nice place to be.
What this is though, it's a better drive.
Oh, it certainly is a better drive.
The suspension is actually not horrendous. There's a little softness to it. That's actually pretty good.
It's not too soft though. There's some stuff I've driven and it's all over the place.
It's not like the 106.
No, the 106 is soft in a tired way, whereas this is soft in a it's meant to be soft way.
Yeah, which actually is something that I think a lot of modern cars lack entirely. They're just not. They're not well sprung.
I think this has got character though. This has got a bit of character to it.
Yeah.
It's not boring.
I'd have a lot of fun with this. I think in manual.
I was going to say in the manual. If I bought one, I do really like this. But if I was going to get one, I'd have to have the manual, and I think you could have a lot of fun with it because the power plant isn't terrible.
No.
And it drives really nicely. You could have a lot of fun with one of these cars. It is, in fact, do I say I don't know if it deserves to be a good car. Actually, no, I think it's a good car.
It is a good car.
It's not outstanding in any field. It just ticks all the boxes as being thumbs up.
Yeah, if someone says to you, I want a car.
Yeah, I would be like, Mazda 232.
It's comfortable enough. There's enough space in the back. There's reasonable boot space. It's not a big car.
You've got the adjustable rear seats.
Yeah, you get fancy rear seats.
Yeah, very, very adjustable.
Sunroof.
Sunroof is nice. I love sunroofs.
Yeah, as do I. Yeah. Not enough cars have a sunroof.
Nope. It's good. Mazda did well on this. That's an important thing to say. That said, there's lots of other things I'd like to be in more.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not going to miss this when I take the R8 out later.
You have a real way with words to make me really feel like...
Hey, look, how many trains have I driven? Or, sorry, locomotives have I driven this year?
I'm going to guess that you haven't.
Correct. So there you go. It's something.
Yeah, I kind of lost count this year.
Do you want some McNuggets?
Yes.
Let's get some
the suspension's very nice, isn't it? As you flew over that speed bump there at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
It's fine.
It just ate it up.
I'm just saving the brakes.
So, there we have it. Possibly one of the most LMM vehicles to ever appear on the channel, and a rare car for me, something this side of the millennium I actually genuinely enjoy.
That was a real nice surprise, and lovely to be, well, I was going to say back on your channel, but back together and on the LMM channel for, I think, the first time? Officially?
I think this is the first time you've appeared, yeah. No, because I did something for your channel. Yeah, this is the first time you've been on LMM. How do you feel? Do you feel like the whole world is your oyster, it's a bright new world and things?
Oh, it's nice, I like it.
Cool.
And we want to say, before we go, a big thank you to Dave and Kat at the Half Moon Pub in Belsham St Paul for lending us our filming location for the afternoon. And I guess we also should finish on a slightly sad note.
Yes, if you want to see the video, by the way, of the famous 307 and what we did on his channel, which is, at the moment, his 50th best video.
Nearly 100,000 views, so help me cross it over that line.
There's a link to it coming up now, and also a link to Jayemm's channel. So thanks for watching, guys, and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think of my mum's new car.
You didn't let me get to the sad note.
I was going to let you do that now.
Oh, right. Well, the sad note is that the 307, unfortunately, is no more.
It is in the grape scrapyard in the sky. So a moment for the 307.
Should I press F?
That's just going to be the comments now, isn't it? It's just F for the 307. Oh God, it is. I hated that car.